Okay, good morning. We're going to call the December 6th Judicial and Public Safety Committee to order. Wait, roll call, please.
Chair Zay.
Here.
Member Cahill. Here. Member Chaplin. Member Childress. Here. Member Cover. Here. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Here. Member Garcia. Here. Member Krajewski. Member Ozog. Here. Member Schwarzy.
Okay, seems like some people maybe partied a little harder last night than others. Do we have any public comment today?
No, we do not.
Okay, thank you. Chair's remarks, just welcome to everybody. Hopefully this is going to be once the new committees are approved, hopefully in January or February, we'll have a new chair of this committee. Welcome everybody. You're limited to 2 questions and 1 follow. No, just thank you for joining us, Member Schwarzy. We don't like you, but that's okay. That's temporary. I like it that way. That's true. We'll move on to item number 5, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the Tuesday, November 15th minutes? Moved by Member Krajewski, second by Member Garcia. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Move on to item 6, procurement requisitions. Is there a motion on JPSP 000223 contract issued to Integral Solutions, the amount of $773,746.48? We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion on JPSP 323? Agreement issued to Bond Dixon Associates for Special State's Attorney for the County Clerk Election Division, $100,000. Motion by Member Krajewski, second by Member Schwarzy. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, is there a motion on JPSP 423, agreement with DuPage Legal Aid Foundation, provide legal services as Special State's Attorney, the amount of $40,000. Member Krajewski, second by Member Garcia. Any questions? Member Cover.
Is this the free legal aid, the pro bono clinic that we're referring to?
Could you come up to the mic, please? Sorry.
We have appointed several, actually 2 attorneys from legal aid to assist us in protective order program. When people come to the state's attorney's office looking for a protective order, we try to, the statute requires that they are given services as well for child support and some other family related issues. We have a child support enforcement program where we can help them with that, but our expertise is not in the other family decision making. So we have appointed the legal aid, a couple of attorneys there to help us with that.
Okay, well, the only reason why I'm asking is it says that the amount not to exceed $40,000. I would think that it would be more than $40,000.
Well, actually,
I would like it to be. I mean, like, don't you need more help?
We base this on what we went through last year, and we think it's going to be enough.
Okay, so
Because it's
there's
not every case. The family has to need the services.
okay.
So when they come in, they're interviewed. If they have children, then we go to another line of questioning, and that being, do you want child support services? Do you want,
Okay.
decision-making services put in their visitation, that kind of thing.
And has the need, so the need has increased the last time?
It's a little more than last year.
Okay. I guess if that's all they need, yeah. Thank you.
I'm sure if it goes above that amount, you'll come back to us and seek more money. Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, is there a motion on JPSP 523 contract issued to Axon Enterprises for software, transcript, and cameras for State's Attorney's Office, Children's Advocacy Center, on a $32,340.80. Motion by Member Covert, second by Member Garcia. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item E, is there a motion on JPSP 623 contract issued to Axon Enterprise to provide interview software, transcript software, interface, text share cameras, unlimited storage for State's Attorney's Office? Amount of $1,125,824.45. Moved by Member Schwarzy. Is there a second? Second by Member Garcia. Questions, Member Garcia?
Yeah, I'm just a little wondering of exactly where this amount came. We just approved all of the budgets last county board meeting, and so now all of a sudden we need $1 million. And I'm just wondering why this wasn't put into the budget for next year.
This, part of this is coming from all of the need for the DME and storage and that. And we're going into the last year of our TechShare contract, which is our automated case management system, which did away with files. And one of the issues that we were addressing with them was storage. And during the course of, and that contract expires next year. That's why it wasn't addressed in this year's budget and any increases in it. So actually going back a little bit, in July of 22, which is after we had submitted our budget, there were some changes that were made over in our children's center. And one of the things that we discovered, much to our surprise, is that they are using some antiquated software. That's the one that you just approved, the cameras and that. And we found out that they were actually taking like a 3-hour interview would take 3 hours then after that to upload because it's minute for minute, and then 3 hours after that to download it, which was minute for minute. So we were looking for solutions, and Axon provided the best solution. We also, in dealing with Axon, we have found out that a lot of the different software things that we use, they've been buying companies up. And one of they bought evidence.com, which is something, it's a digital media evidence software that a lot of law enforcement uses in DuPage County. And we were going through a process where we're trying to create an interface so that law enforcement who use evidence.com, which is the majority of them, and we think it's gonna end up being almost all of them, they have issues with our state's attorneys where they're like, well, you're making us take this digital media evidence, which is in evidence.com, and then download it into your TechShare. Why don't you just go to evidence.com and get it? So we're working on a solution for that. And then that everything keeps kind of spiraling. And when we were starting our conversation with TechShare for next year's contract, they were charging us $44,000 a year for storage of the evidence. And they were supposed to be truing that up every year and basically saying, actually it shouldn't be 44,000. We used our calculator, and actually they should have been charging us like 144,000. And so we're simultaneously having conversations with them and with Axon and evidence.com. Of course, they're selling stuff. So they start having a conversation with us. And one of it is your input ACE, which we use to convert videos that don't come to us in the proper format. Our Cellbrite software, which is used to download the phone dumps, which are getting more and more and larger. They own those. They also own transcription services and a number of things that we were kind of using as demos. And they're like, well, you can't use those as demos anymore. You're gonna have to pay for us. So we began a conversation with them. This is now happening after we've done the budget. That this is all going on now in September and October. And the more that we had conversations with them, the more we were still addressing the issue with the law enforcement, sheriff uses, evidence.com and Axon. And we just found that, we're running into more and more issues that we were going to have to solve to be able to continue to efficiently do this work. As a matter of fact, everything that we use, the courts, the public defender, everybody is affected by our ability to get this digital media evidence. And so it was at the end of September, early October, that we had conversations with them. We thought that this was the solution. We thought that we actually had the money in 22, but we couldn't because of lapsing funds, because of the hiring lag and that. So we had money that we could have used for this, but because it's a service in 23, we couldn't use 22 funds for it. So we met with finance and talked to them about how we could go about doing this. And the idea is, do we try to push it through last year or wait for the board that's actually going to be dealing with this the next year? So we determined that we were going to wait for this meeting to go through with it and use contingency funds, which were actually, there are contingency funds that are set aside for our salaries if we need them in 23. And we anticipate if 23 goes like 22 did, that we will have enough money actually in our budget that we wouldn't have actually needed to ask for this. Because of the hiring, we just, like everybody else, we don't get people, hiring right now. We have 6 openings that we're recruiting for, and we have more positions that were created in next year's budget that we're also going to be recruiting for. And we don't, we didn't get, at one point last year with our offers, we were going to be full. And then by the time we got around to hiring all our new people, we were already had people left and we were down again 5 more people. So it's just going to be this continuing lag of hiring. And so that lapse could have paid for this. So long and short of it is this all came up at the end of the year, end of the fiscal year. We met and kind of strategized with finance, thought that this would be the best way to approach it. Use the contingency funds because we couldn't use what was left over from last year because it's a subscription service for 23. And so that's we didn't know about this when we were going through the budget process. It's a solution that came up at the end of the year.
Okay, so it sounds like these are issues that you were not aware of and you just found out. Now where did the contingency funds that were for 2022, where did those go?
That lapsed. I mean, that basically went back to the.
I think that goes to stormwater, doesn't it?
I'll hold that's part of the surplus, the 40 million. Anything that's lapsed
Okay,
in 2022 goes to reserve or fund balance. Now we transfer some of that out for some of the projects that we talked about, but not all of it.
okay, so are we taking from that contingency balance to pay for this?
No, we're taking from a contingency account in FY 23.
Okay.
Yeah. And we budgeted quite a bit of money for that. So working with the state's attorney, they will watch their spending in that account for the remainder of the year. We'll work closely with them. But there are ample funds in that contingency account. We just didn't expect this to come up so quickly in the fiscal year, but it's kind of an emergency from what I understand.
Yeah, no, it seems like this is something that's absolutely needed and stuff. I just couldn't figure out the timing of this because we had just approved everything, so I couldn't figure out.
Yeah, also keep in mind, it's a 5-year contract. So this fiscal year, you're talking about $234,000 for the first year.
Yeah. I think I did see that. So, okay, thank you very much.
Just as an example, last night we were working on the detention hearing courtrooms, the first appearance courtrooms, and how we were going to get the evidence that we needed to get to the public defender in time for those hearings. And this actually came up 4 o'clock last night as a solution to that issue. So it's like ever evolving, all the stuff that's going on with the technology and the need to be able to move this digital media evidence, which is getting larger and larger in volume efficiently. So.
Okay. Hold on, we have more questions. Member Ozark?
Thank you. I'm curious what vintage is this system you were describing with these really long downloads and uploads in the?
It was at its end of life. We were going to have to replace. So you're talking about over at the Children's Center?
Right.
Yeah, it was an old system that we were looking at.
Are we talking 10 years?
I think probably it's 5 years. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Member Kudrowski?
Yeah, mine's more for Jeff. Just I know we had this issue with a few of them, like ROE had one where you had to spend, take delivery. Otherwise, you couldn't get it in 2022. So can you just give us a list of, I assume there's a few other ones out there that we're aware of that they couldn't get in 22 and that they're probably going to come out of contingencies if we didn't put it in their budget.
Hopefully most of those were budgeted as carryover.
If it didn't get budgeted, if you know of any, I mean, if you don't know of any, that's fine. Let us know that. But if you do, can you just get a list of what we're looking at coming forward?
Yeah, we can look into that.
That are coming out. And what was in contingency? How much?
I think there was $7 million in there.
Thank you. Thanks, State's Attorney. They informed me on Thursday about this, talked to the State's Attorney yesterday. The timing obviously is, I mean, kind of a need. As they were negotiating the last year, the 5th year was the old contract was the final year of a 5-year contract. These amounts came up that we're going to double all this, we're going to do this, and then compatibility with the municipalities using the evidence.com that's been bought out by Axon, so it kind of all came together. I know the timing is kind of strange, but it was needed. And obviously we're learning as we go on this with the evidence based and how much is coming in with the body cameras and all that. So I think we're going to have to be a little fluid on these issues at this point. But again, at least the State's Attorney, want to thank them. They're out in front on this. So we should be ready to go when this all happens. So any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, resolutions. There a motion on JPSR 223, recommendation approval amendment of contract JPSR 720 agreement between DuPage County and Kane County for housing and detention services for minors. Per diem rate increase from $135 a day to $175 a day. Moved by member Krajewski, second. Second by member Cover. Questions, member Krajewski?
Thank you. I know when we did this intergovernmental with Kane County years ago, we saved taxpayers probably several million right now, but my question is, did they do a cost study when they came with this 30% plus increase of the rate?
I think it come up. I mean, I talked to them about it. I mean, they came with a big rate increase. Right away, our people went out and looked for other areas. They went to Will County, and Will County gave us, I think, the 175 at that point, and then Kane came down and matched the 175. So I know they were looking once they saw that huge increase.
So did they give you a cost study, or they just said this is our new rate?
Well, what we did, Bob McKellen with Director of Probation and Court Services. The current contract allows for them to renegotiate their rate after 2 years. And they contact us just recently after the Chief Judge submitted our budget, and it indicated their costs have been going up considerably the past 2 years with COVID and then with inflation. So their costs are very high. They came at us with $195 per day diem, and they also added a bunch of ancillary costs, which would have added that. We spoke with the Chief Judge. Chief Judge directed us to look at other places. So we contacted Will County, and they came back with the same rate of $175. So that's what the going rate is for detention facilities at this time.
Okay, so my question was, did they give you a cost study, or they just said our rates or our costs have been going up without any backup?
They did that.
Okay, and did we ask for?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? How many, we're still not sending a ton of kids over there, right?
No,
We're using monitoring.
We have between past 5 years, it's between 8 and 10 kids per day.
I think that are there, not we're taking 8 or 10 a day. I mean, we're averaging.
Averaging 8 to 10 per day in the facility.
Okay,
I have a question.
member shows.
Over a year, what's the man days of it? You say per day, but how many days did we pay for that?
We base our budget based on our average daily population. So that's where we come up with a figure of between 8 and 10 days. And we multiply that times the daily rate. That's how we budget. It can be anywhere, sometimes there's 4 kids, sometimes there's 14 kids. So it varies each day.
Well, let's say we got an average of 10. You multiply that by 365.
And the per diem.
Okay, and then the $175 a day times the 365 times 10 people over there.
Yeah, 175 times the 10 that are there times the 365.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item B is there a motion on JPSR 823 additional appropriation law library $2,240. Moved by member Krajewski, second by member Garcia. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, is there a motion on amendment FIR 47322 acceptance appropriation Illinois Emergency Agency Hazard Mitigation Grant, the amount of $83,040. Moved by member Ozog, second by member Krajewski. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Is there item number 8, budget transfers? Is there a motion to combine the budget transfers A, B, C, and D? Moved by member Krajewski, second by member Covert. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Then is there a motion on A, budget transfers, transfer of funds to account 1160 540 54 1110 4400 sheriff cybersecurity not for a trustees medical due to unusually high expenditures, the amount of 81 584. B, budget transfer amount of 208 671 regarding cybersecurity purchases for the sheriff. Item C, budget transfers the amount of $10,000 needed additional costs for expert professional services for public defender. And item D, budget transfer the amount of $257,133 to cover Axion Source Well contracts for state's attorney. Member Garcia, second by member Krajewski. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to receive and place on file informational A, public defenders, monthly stats, and B, resolution JPS 29722, clarification of RFP jail management software bid tabulation sheet? Moved by member Krajewski, second by member Garcia. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Any old business? Any new business? No? Is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by member Krajewski, second by member Schwarzy, all in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.